In the following interviews, we asked the students to comment on the relationship between music and architecture and how this is explored through their projects.
Well, my project is called the Tubular Bells Music School, and it effectively is a series of 25-metre high steel tubes that cover the whole site. And the idea is that those tubes become the architecture, but yet they are a musical instrument in its own right as well, with the wind going against it, people rubbing up against it, them clanging together. I mean, it's a music school, but it does, I'm trying to bring together the idea of music and architecture, and I think architecture should be like music, and music should be like architecture, where they have a certain rhythm, a certain composition, a certain harmony of the different parts that make up each other. And whereas music can transport you to a particular place or a memory, and I think that transportation should also be able to be experienced in a building.
Well, for my project, I took it from the angle of looking at architecture as a journey, and I started looking at music as well, and started to notice that it is a journey. It takes people on a journey through this whole kind of musical experience of what's going on, the different notes, that atmosphere that music creates, and I wanted to bring that into my project. So my project is actually called The New Old. And what I've done is I've taken the old parts of Poole and I've put it into my project and made it into a new, almost a new building, recycled different things. And that's what I feel that music is. Music has always been recycled, especially in the industry. The old is always coming back into the new, and I basically wanted to express that in my architecture, taking old materials, old rubble that people don't really take for granted, and I wanted it to be a lot more noticed amongst people in my musical school.
Park life. The idea was to bring the park more into the inside of Poole, so it's not an outside area of it. So basically, as a musician, because I play guitar, when in Spain I learned to play music, was to play outside. So that's what I wanted to bring into the music school in Poole. I wanted to be an outside area, but at the same time an interior area.
The theme for my music school proposal related to the graphical equalizers in music and how this can be translated into architecture, whereby you have a complete journey from the start of the site through to the centre of the site where the program is to the exit. Music is something we would like to see, and architecture is something we like to hear. Two ideas, two statements which we don't see in everyday life. One of the main aspects of my design philosophy, which I'm developing this year under what I'm kind of calling cohesive architecture, is where landscape and structure exist as one entity.
My project mainly focused on movement, and within music and architecture I sort of created these volumes of spaces where people would play inside them. A really big part of them was the transparency, so you can see inside them. You got a really good sense of scale. There was a sense of dancing and rhythm, and that also tied in with the lighthouse in Poole. And you got a great sense of movement from the lighthouse to the music school and then back into town, so there was sort of connection.
Well, I did Paisley Park, and that was sort of based on the 60s vibe of the music, you know, sort of the hippie, free love era. I found like a pattern that was just sort of kind of summed it up, and then I used that to sort of create the landscape, because the landscape was the most important part to me. It was just to fill the whole void. I applied like texture. That's why I had all these tiles that were just they would just express one part of a paisley pattern, and that would sort of just highlight that part. And each part that I used in the walls was basically a part that I'd used to create the landscape. So it was sort of hinting, saying, "Oh, this is what made this building."